This is the plaintiff, Susan Jaffairs. She says she had a raccoon hole on her roof and hired the defendant's home improvement company to make the repairs. After she paid them, his workers refused to complete the work, claiming her roof wasn't fixable and that she needed an entirely new one. Meanwhile, they left her home in worse condition than it was before they started. She's out all sorts of money from this flim-flam sham of a company and is suing the crooks for the $2,163.33 she's owed. This is the defendant, John Montgomery. He says he tried to help this woman out by making an emergency repair to her roof, which leaked water. The woman has issues because the very next day she called ranting and raving about the Mexicans on her roof and how she wanted them off. Meanwhile, once work commenced, it was determined her roof was rotted and beyond repair. They went back and forth with her on the price of a new roof. Then she demanded all her money back for the work they already did. He's sorry, but he or his men don't work for free. He's accused of fiddling on the roof.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case of the docket, the plaintiff had a pesky raccoon that made a hole in the roof and hired the defendant to fix it. He took the money and didn't do the work, but the defendant says she got downright racial on them. It's the case of Rocky Raccoon Repair.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Susan Jaffairs, you are suing John Montgomery, and are you the owner of the company?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay, and his company, which you've asked us not to mention, and we'll respect that, for $2,163.33, representing a deposit that you paid him that you want returned, as well as additional monies you had to pay out in order to get your roof repaired. Tell me what happened.
I had a raccoon rip a hole in my roof a while ago.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, and that cost me a lot of money to get rid of the raccoon. And then my roof had other things wrong with it. And I tried several companies, had them come in and give me estimates on a roof. The salesman—
On a new roof or on a repair for the roof?
Well, they said that the roof was due for a new roof. But I couldn't pay for that. So I had to get someone to come in to fix so that we'd make it through the winter.
Right.
So the salesman came to my house and they said that they could fix the problems on my roof for $4,000.
Are you two gentlemen the salesman?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Come on up. How old are you?
I'm 19.
18? How old are you?
47.
What is the relationship between everybody?
This is my younger brother, Your Honor.
Okay, and that gentleman?
He's just an employee of the company.
Got it. All right. So they go out there, and do they get up on top of your roof?
Yes.
All right. And when you guys get up on top of the roof, what do you find?
I have pictures to show.
Sure.
Okay.
Were the pictures taken when you went up and sold the job?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Just give me the ones before you guys started the job.
Okay. There you go.
Is this where the raccoon made its home? Like through that? Wow. It's a raccoon with an appetite. So you fellas see this and you quote her what? Let me hear from you.
It was $4,000 to do the repair.
No one's going to let you speak. Okay. You're just an employee. I'm sure he didn't mean it that way. I'm sure he meant you weren't related. Go ahead.
We had best intentions to do the repair.
Okay, that's not what I asked you. I asked you, when you guys look at this roof, you quote the roof based on what? You guys look at it and you think like you can fix it, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I mean, this looks pretty bad, doesn't it? But you thought it was manageable.
And the interior work.
Okay, you got to stop coaching him. I need you to stop. And in fact, you know what? I want you to switch with you. Okay. Come on over here. So what is it you guys quote?
At the quote, we have a contract for it. It was $4,000.
$4,000?
Fix the interior work and—
There's additional work.
Oh, no. Don't talk. Just hand. Okay? Because it starts to feel like you're coaching everybody, and then it makes me uncomfortable. I don't want you to do that.
I'm not. What I was trying to
but I'm driving the train. You're not driving the train. No, you're the boss where you are, but guess what? I'm the boss where I am. So chill. Hand me that, please. So you quote her $4,000 to do the repair, correct? All right. She gives you a deposit. You give them a deposit of $1,333.33.
Yes.
So now, when do they start the work?
They started the work on the very next morning.
All right, so now you guys get there the next day, and what happened?
So what happens is immediately we write up a work order. We speak to the crew leaders. They're not all English speaking, I will tell you that firsthand. But we give a work order to their foreman who speaks English. We give them a description of the work detail, and we explain to them exactly what needs to be done. The crew shows up the following day to the residence at 9 a.m. as promised. The salesman shortly to follow at 9:30. Immediately, my office starts getting phone calls from this woman that there's a bunch of Mexicans at her house. She doesn't want Mexicans at her house. They don't speak any English. They're not welcome there. Get them out of there. So from the immediate start of going from trying to help a lady who has raccoons in her house, the urgency, the smell of urine and feces that they dealt with, just trying to even estimate this job. We're here to try to help this woman now.
No, you're in public service. You're not here to make a buck. All right, go on.
The bottom line is that...
Did you call him and say, why are there Mexicans on my roof?
No, Your Honor, I did not.
Did you complain because the people who were on your roof didn't speak English?
I had been promised workmen in the company-named shirts, in a company-named truck with the supervisor.
Did you guys promise workmen in particular clothing?
No.
It's just that you didn't like it because it's clear that it was being subbed.
And I attempted to speak to the workmen on my roof. And unfortunately, I took French in high school, so I was at a loss.
How'd that work out for you?
Not so good.
Okay. So
I
how do you know one of them wasn't the supervisor?
Because none of them could speak to me.
Well, okay, but that doesn't mean there wasn't a supervisor. There just wasn't an English-speaking supervisor.
Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen, when did you guys get on the scene?
Approximately 9:30.
So now, as it turns out, there was a problem with the job.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Who's the one who first figures that out from talking to the gentleman on the roof?
If I was allowed to, Your Honor, I have taken pictures. As you see up there, you can see the picture of the hole before we touched it. Our job was to remove that gutter and replace the wood that was in that location right behind it.
The wood is the fascia board, right?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct. If you would give this to the judge, please. This area right here, once we remove that piece of wood, Your Honor, you could see how substantial the damage of the
It's like
structure
this, right?
of which in fact would now need to hold the new piece of wood. The rod is so severe.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. What I don't get is before you quote a job, why don't you just do that?
It's impossible, Your Honor, to see that piece of wood until you remove the fascia board.
But it's like, it's not that big a deal to remove it and then nail it back in, is it?
No, ma'am, it's impossible. You have a 20-foot gutter on there.
20 feet, okay. So
Of
you
gutter.
remove the gutter first?
Then the piece of wood in which the gutter is nailed to, and then that is the framing behind it.
Do you have anything in your contract that talks about hidden damage that we discover afterwards could affect things?
Yes, ma'am, in the bottom of the fine print.
I find where it says that you guys have 30 days to cancel the contract. I did find that, but hold on. Okay, hold on. You want me to read this or no? Okay. Okay, none of this says what I asked about. This is all warranty conversation. And we don't need to belabor that point because I think that where it says that you have 30 days to pull out gives you the ability to pull out if the job can't get done.
Your Honor.
They end up telling you we can't do this. And then you say or do what?
Well, I asked them to do the work that they had contracted for.
Right.
And they
told you they can't warrant that, so they won't do it.
They couldn't guarantee that, so they asked me to sign a statement.
A waiver of the warranty.
Yes,
and
which I did.
Right. So you just wanted them to go ahead and go forward. Now, why didn't you guys, if you got her to sign a waiver that she wasn't going to go against you on a warranty, why wouldn't you guys just do the best you can?
Your Honor, what happened was this job had started at 9 o'clock in the morning. This ended at about 6 o'clock at night. So I had two workers.
Why?
Why? Because we were negotiating. Because we were trying to negotiate.
Oh, negotiating. Right.
We told her we'd be back the following day.
Right.
To do the repair because it was now the day is done.
Right.
And I paid 6 people to stand around and do nothing all day.
Right.
The next day, she called us up, threatening us and
saying what?
If you step foot on my property, I'm filing lawsuits against you.
Okay. So what you're testifying to then is that you didn't pull out, she did?
She refused to allow us back on her property.
Okay.
That's correct.
Is that correct or not correct?
That is not correct, Your
Not
Honor.
correct. What do you say is the reason that things didn't go forward?
So if the plaintiff gets racial on the defendant's workman, can the defendant say, I'm out of here and keep the money?
I think he can leave, but I don't think he should keep the money.
What do you think? What do you think?
I don't think it's fair if he leaves and then doesn't get the money.
And doesn't get the money?
Yeah, I think he has to give the money.
Oh, he has to give the money
Yeah.
back. Anybody think he should be able to keep the money and leave? Nope.
He should keep the money. I mean, if like that's what he decides, I mean, I think he should just stick with it.
He should keep the money if the woman gets racial.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
I did not believe that they would be there the next day to do the work.
Except for that you're the one who called them off from being there the next day to do the work.
No, then I called Zachary, because
told
that's
him.
whose number I had.
And told him.
And I told him that I was canceling the contract.
Right. So you call them and cancel. They don't call you and cancel. You call
Yes.
them. And then your answer to me is because I didn't trust they'd come the next day. So you told them don't come because I know you're not going to come the next day.
I felt I was being scammed.
When you get the call, is it that night? When you get the call, I'm sorry. Can you switch with him?
Yes.
Is it that night?
It was actually about an hour
After you guys had left. According to your statement, I went to my bank to cancel the check only to find out that it had been cashed the previous day. I then left a message for the defendant and sent a certified letter saying I was canceling the contract. So what really happened, and the reason why you canceled, is because you found out that they had cashed your check.
That was part of it, yes.
Why wouldn't you tell me that? Why do I have to get that out of you like a dentist pulling teeth? Because if you have a signed deal, it's curious that you're going to the bank to stop payment on the check. So I don't think you intended to go through with a signed deal. Did you end up getting it done?
I had to get it done, yes.
And you got it done by another company for
Yes.
$4,800?
Yes.
All right. When was this little thing signed? Does anybody know that? You guys are the ones who would know that.
Yeah, that was signed the next day, the same day that we were there, that
The
Friday.
same day you were there, but when?
That
Do you remember
was
if it was the morning, the afternoon, at the end of the day?
late afternoon, right before we left.
Right before you left. Was that signed right before they left?
No.
When was it signed?
It was signed in the early afternoon, before 2 p.m.
Ironic.
Or
It helps
at
you
2
if it's
p.m.
later. What are your profits on this job?
Probably $1,500.
What do you expect me to do with this?
Your Honor, if I may speak, please. And I
No,
won't be-
you may not. What am I supposed to do with this? Pretend this didn't exist?
No, ma'am.
All right, here's how I see this, okay? You guys negotiate that I'll tell you what, just do this job for me because I really need it done, and I'm gonna think happy thoughts and hope it works. And I will sign, you tell her you'll have to sign a waiver of any warranty claim. And then she signs it.
We showed her a new
That,
roof
I'm
at that
sorry,
point.
did I invite you to speak? I'm in the middle of ruling. So she signs it. You know what? Step out. You're annoying me.
I will. I will.
Okay, go ahead.
She has
Step out.
to
Yeah,
show
yeah,
her
step
new
out. Step
roof
out.
in
Out, out,
between
out,
them.
out. Douglas, get him out. Get him
Yes,
out.
ma'am.
Get him out.
Sorry, right this way. Thanks, bro.
Honest to God, what is it must he be like to work with? You can't get a word in edgewise, I bet. Don't say anything. You're
He's
just an
easy.
employee. All right. Here's the problem. Once you sign this document where you say, all right, we have a new contract. I'll tell you what, do the repair anyway, and I will hold you harmless. You have created a new contract. And when you decide to pull out because you've checked your bank and they've already cashed it, that makes me feel a little bit suspicious. But what that also does is it puts you in the position of being the person who breached. And if you breached, they are entitled to their lost profits. And their lost profits are actually a little bit more than the deposit that you paid them. So I am not going to rule in your favor. I rule in favor of the defendants.
Difficult customer?
Be well at every point here. I think that, we really didn't get to say exactly what we wanted to, but the bottom line is I'm happy with the ruling. I really feel that as a company, we showed up to do a job. We did everything we said that we could do, and then when we could not, we brought it to her attention and would not come to a mutual agreement. And at that point, she just became very vindictive and did whatever she could to try to hurt me as a company. So,
All right. Okay. Very good. All right, right around the corner. Okay. All right. So step on in here. What went wrong here? What they tried to work with you, it sounds like.
They didn't try to work with me. They didn't respond to phone calls. They spent most of the day sitting in the truck. That didn't come out in court. And when I went to mention it to the judge, it was not allowed.
So the roof is okay now? It's
The
not
roof
leaking?
is okay now, thank
No more
goodness.
animals living in the roof now?
I hope not.
So you're happy?
Yes.
Harvey?
As far as I'm concerned, the key is that you hire a licensed contractor, and then at least you can go to the contractors board if there's a fee dispute. But you shouldn't be dealing with unlicensed contractors, period. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.